We are lit.
What up, what up, what up, beautiful people? I am back. I know y'all miss me. It was so tough.
Uh,
Actually, y'all don't even have to deal with Mike,
uh,
so lucky y'all. Um,
uh.
this week, we are love. We are, I can't get it out because I'm out of practice.
You didn't
We are
introduce
joined by a
me.
lovely guest. Shut up.
Whoa.
We are love. We are, oh my God. Mike, I'm about to slap you. We are joined by our lovely guest. I finally got it out. Miss Shadae McCallum. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing very well. Um,
Try
this week
some.
we have a dope show lined up for you guys. We're going to be talking about, I think, what was it? Last episode, Miss Glamazon Tayomi referred to something as the white male gaze. So we are going to be getting into that, how it kind of defines or how it kind of affects our culture. Um, and so we're also going to be talking about Lovecraft Country, America's new hottest show that Mike don't like.
No, I'm not gonna boo the show. I'm not gonna boo the show.
Oh, rest in peace to the Black Panther.
Oh man, oh
So sad.
man, Taliban.
Um, but yeah, man, it's gonna be a dope show. I'm glad to be back with y'all. Sorry, I keep departing, being sick. No
Well, you
COVID
should at least
though.
got a haircut before you came back.
Man, you must be crazy, man. I've had 3 COVID tests, none of them positive. It's the most
Thank
miserable
God.
experience in the world.
I bet.
So,
Did they hit you with the saliva test, or they had to scrape your nose up every time?
nah, bro, they've been scraping my brain.
Oh, man, I'm no math no more.
Yeah, super uncomfortable. Um, so yeah, man, you want to get into the Patreon since you don't talk
Yeah,
about it anymore?
man. We gonna shout out the Patreon real quick. Shout out to everybody joining us. Marcella with the cacao. What's happening, Marcella?
Cacao.
Avery, Kendall, Bunner here. You know, we love y'all. We miss y'all. We are very thankful that Will is back and safe. We've been praying for him. I was gonna have to find a new co-host, y'all. I put out a, I put out a cert. I put out a call to action.
You would have had to buy me out of my contract first.
But I was gonna. All right, here you your $5 off of Patreon. But yeah, man, we're gonna shout out this Patreon. If y'all want to love on us more than you already have, which y'all already love on us immensely, and we definitely appreciate it. If you want to show you more love, first of all, shout out to all the patrons that's already on there. We have built up enough money to help us pay for our producer, who y'all will hear from later on because he got a lot to say about this doggone Lovecraft Country. Y'all gonna hear from him later. But in the meantime, thank y'all so much for already donating, which you already have. If you would like to donate to us for as little as $5 or even less than that, you can pick your own price. We don't care. $1, $2, $500, whatever you got on you. You know what I'm saying? Just throw it in there. Help us thrive. And yeah, man, just help us keep growing. We get, as you can see, we getting bigger and bigger guests. We're so thankful for that. We're so thankful for Miss Shadae for coming by. Shout out to Tayomi for coming by last time. We gonna keep popping, man. We gonna keep going until we get, I don't know, who we trying to get on here. We gonna get Obama on the show next. We just hit him up real quick, see what he's doing, see if he want to stop by. But yeah, man, thank y'all so much for all the love. Kendall, love you, brother. Thank y'all. We appreciate y'all. But yeah, patreon.com/cultivated-ignorance. Hit us up.
Word.
Yeah.
So, Miss Shadae, how are you doing today?
I'm fine.
That's good. That's good. Can you kind of speak on, I guess, a little bit about yourself, what you've done, I guess, in the beauty industry, and your general, I guess, experience, as a dark skinned model in South Carolina?
See, you asked me too much at one time.
Well, what's your first of all, you want to give a little background on yourself, what you do, all that good stuff. You can just start with that.
Okay. Well, I'm a model, of course, and a social media influencer. I'm a poet. I'm a singer. I dance. I act. Child, I can paint you a card. All right, let me stop. But I do some of everything.
No. So how long have you been in the, I guess you could say, beauty industry? I know you've been in commercials, you've been in New York Fashion Week. Like, how long have you been modeling and stuff?
I took modeling classes about 2 years ago, maybe, and I started modeling last year in January. So it's been a little over a year and a half now.
Oh, really? I thought,
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that you've been out here for like years. I thought you've been out here just that's because of the huge following that you built up for yourself. It's been, how do you have you kind of accumulated this following? People just kind of naturally gravitated towards you, or
Yeah, pretty much. Like just certain pictures go viral. I get reposted by big pages. Somebody reposted me on Twitter, and I got 15,000 followers off of that, automatically. So it just happened.
yeah, people popping out in these streets. We see you. So, what has been like your general experience as a dark skinned model in the beauty industry, whether here in South Carolina or in the, I know you model in LA. Oh, she already hitting the eye roll. This ain't good. Go ahead. Get all your feelings out. Go ahead. Anybody gonna see this? Well, they might see it. I don't know about you.
um, as a dark skin model, I feel like for the most part I've been fetishized because my counterparts, white girls, they are always in, but everybody else that's like a non-white, like person of color, they are in at a certain point. And right now, dark-skinned women are in. So that kind of makes it hard for me because people will say things like, oh my God, I would love to work with you. And then they say things like, oh, you just so chocolate, like I'm a piece of food, and things like that. Like,
I
it's
knew the
like,
chocolate
huh?
was coming.
Like,
It's so cringy.
like it really is, and people don't take into account like things like that are not okay, but you just kind of grin and bear it like and like pass it because you have a job to do. Um, but I say here being a dark skin model in South Carolina, um, I haven't seen many honestly, and I feel like I've been kind of paving the way. And after I've done some of the things that I've been doing, I started seeing a lot more dark skin, models. So I'm happy to be an example. And in LA, on the sets that I've been on, I've seen a couple. It's been me and like two other people, and we looking at each other like, "Girl, why they got us here?" But that's just a part of the job. You just just do it.
Dang.
What was I about to say? Oh, so I don't know if you saw this thing. I think it was Vogue or some magazine that shoots, real famous magazine. And there was a complaint that they shoot black women, especially darker women, extremely poorly, like poor lighting, kind of making their skin, kind of dead, making their skin kind of dead looking. Does that does that happen to you, or is that something you've experienced, or what are your thoughts on that?
Um, Honestly, I've only had that happen one time, and I've done a lot of shoots. So I'm really grateful I haven't had to have that experience. And it was only because I was shooting with a girl that was light skinned, and he only edited the pictures to suit her, and it made me look ashy. But for the most part, everybody that I've worked with had like they know how to edit and how to shoot for my skin tone.
Okay. Do you think that is a do you think that's a problem within the industry, not people not knowing how to shoot darker skinned women, or do you think that's just an isolated incident with that magazine?
I definitely think that that's a thing. Like, I'm just one of those people who happen to be fortunate enough to get good photographers who know how to work with a broad range of skin tones. But some of my friends will send me stuff, and I'm just looking on my explore page, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right. Like, it happens too much for it to be an isolated incident. And there are a lot of times when I see things, when models post conversations that they've had in the DMs with photographers and their muses. So it's definitely a thing.
I want one more follow-up question to that. So do you think that they don't know how to shoot the skin tone properly, or is it that they have a, I guess, different definition of how dark skin beauty is translated to the public? If you understand what I'm saying.
Explain that a little more.
I guess my thought process is: do you think that they don't know how to shoot dark skinned women, or is it that they think that actually looks good in some kind of way?
Oh no, they don't think that looks good. I really think it's just, there's no way, like, because if I look like that in person, then what would they say? Like, why do you look like that? Or you look ashy, or I think you should put on some lotion. No. They just don't know.
I got you.
So you see that it's still like an ongoing problem, or do you see it getting better? And in regard to that, do you see yourself and other models like you able to speak up about that a lot more? Or do y'all just kind of have to play the game till y'all hopefully get what you want?
Well, some of the people or the photographers that I've worked with, they do classes, which I'm so grateful for. And a lot of them do really, really well. They get a lot of students in there, and I think that's great. So there's a lot of people that are willing to learn, and I wish that there were more people out there to teach. But I don't think that it's always easy for models to talk about, these things, like, just in general, but that in particular. Someone like me, yes, because I have a big following and people are going to support me regardless. But the girl who only has 500 followers and she's trying to build her portfolio is not someone who could easily say something about someone she's worked with, because that's just the end of it for her, more than likely.
I have a question about the like model agencies. Like, so as a promoter, I hear a lot of times about artists paying to be in shows, and that sounds super strange to me. Like, unless I really can't think of too many scenarios where somebody should have to pay to be in a show, performing in somebody else's show. But I heard a lot about model agencies. Of course, you have to pay for their services, but like, how do y'all kind of navigate what's like actual value with that versus getting ripped off? Like, do a lot of these model agencies kind of rip off models, just kind of promising an opportunity they never fulfill on, or like how does that industry kind of fare in your opinion?
I definitely think it's like 50-50, which is why I went so long like without being signed, because I definitely could have got signed immediately. And I've had a lot of offers, but some of them, I just looked at what they were offering me versus the people they've worked with, their other models, and what their models were doing. And some of them weren't doing anything. So I was like, no, that's not it. I definitely think that some of them do offer things that they can't live up to, and others, they definitely do, which is why I signed with who I signed with.
Do you have any particular advice you would give to other black models and when navigating that whole thing? Because you try to give people something to come away with. We got all these fine ass models watching our show every Thursday. You know what I mean? So, any kind of advice you would give them for helping them kind of decipher through that?
Honestly, if you guys ever have any questions, my DMs are always open. I'm not as mean or as intimidating as I look. You can always ask me. I will tell you if something is legit or not. And if you don't think it is, it's probably not. Do your research on these people. Like, ask questions, email them, ask them all the questions that you want. And if they get tired of it, that's a sign. Look at their rosters. You can always go on the website, look at the roster, who's up there. and DM those models or email them and ask them questions about their experiences. Read everything. Like, and if you just don't feel right about it, then go somewhere else, look elsewhere. There are like so many agencies out there for you. And it just, sometimes it takes a little time. I would caution against signing with the first person just because you're anxious to be signed, because those contracts last. And yeah.
It's gonna be locked for life in the damn death row situation or something.
Oh Lord, like Vanilla Ice hung over side the balcony.
Right? You know what I'm saying? But I can definitely speak. Like Shadae is very, very dope, very, very nice. She is definitely telling the truth. I love that I always see you celebrating other models as well. I think that people like to think that models are in constant competition with one another, just like rappers or anybody trying to get on. I like to think that we got to get over on other people, get on ourselves. But I can definitely say for you, you definitely constantly shout out other people as well as us, as well as me and my shows, and I appreciate you for that. Shawty is dope as hell. So hit her up on her DMs. We're gonna shout out her information a little later in the show. But yeah, just know that. So yeah, man, we're gonna get into this white gaze, or I put male gaze, and I didn't want to put like white male white male gaze on the promo and everything. Because you told me I've been doing a little extra with the white shit.
Scared to speak your mind?
Nah, bro, when I put the Attack of the Whites thing, you was like, oh bro, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
That was a little divisive right there. Attack of the Whites.
Trying to cage me up.
So yeah, Mike, if you don't mind explaining, well, at least going back to, I remember I was watching an episode with Glamazon Tayomi, and she was saying that so many things affect, the white male gaze affects different aspects of our life. And I think she was specifically talking about the porn industry at the time. Yeah. But I think it's important to state that it does affect us in other ways as well. And so I just kind of wanted to go through, especially with you, Shadae, because I'm sure that the white male gaze, or however white men view, beauty or whatever, I'm sure it has some kind of factor in the modeling industry itself. So I just wanted to open up the conversation and say, how do we really define the white male gaze?
Okay, it is your topic.
I'll start with the Wikipedia definition.
What the?
I mean, that's what I mean. I figured that would be a good launching point.
Sure.
It says in feminist theory, the male gaze is the act of depicting women in the world in the visual arts and literature form a masculine heterosexual perspective that presents and represents women as sexual objects for the pleasure of the male viewer. You think that's true?
I'll let Shadae go next.
I mean, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
how do you think it affects Black women more than it affects white women, or you think it just affects it all the same?
I definitely think that it affects Black women more because the white woman is considered the prototype. So we're trying to do all these things to make ourselves look that way in order to be seen as acceptable. And it's been that way for like years, like under slavery and, segregation and all those things. It's been very prevalent with the straightening of the hair, bleaching skin, all of those things.
So, I guess with your, I don't know if this is how you always look, but how does your current aesthetic, like the afro and the hair tie and all this other stuff, how does that affect your modeling? Do you think it limits you from some kind of opportunities, or?
No, I don't. I do actually, rock Afrocentric hairstyles all the time. And I was told as a model, you shouldn't wear wigs, right? So whenever I send pictures for castings, I always just bare, I'm natural, my hair is short. But whenever I go to castings, they ask me to put on the wig. Being myself and showing my true beauty is what attracts people to me. So for some reason, I seem to be the one that's an anomaly. I don't have to buy into those standards when it comes to hair, but when it comes to some other things, yes.
I got you. What you think, Mike?
So Dom's back at it. Like
Oh
I know
God, no.
back in here. We're gonna read one comment because this kind of speaks to my whole point. He said Americans are a little short-sighted. Beauty standards change with demographics. In Nigeria, the largest market is Black people. Economics teaches that we appeal to what is the largest market. It's less about racism and more about economics. I think that's kind of what we're saying. Like when largely white people control the economy here in America, naturally, like white beauty standards would kind of be the norm or considered the standard. So, like that being considered, I mean, I'm not saying I don't understand where it's coming from, but like it's still a thing. So, yeah, when you see, I always talk about this. When you see who they like, the local white magazine things like the most beautiful woman in the world. What was that magazine that made like Jennifer Aniston the most beautiful woman in the world, something like that? You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's like you look at her, and not to take anything from Jennifer Aniston, but like you look at her and then look at like the average Black woman. Like it's like, what? Like who are we talking to? Who are we speaking to right now? And so, yeah, of course, there's definitely been that. But my questioning is with more of us as the people building our own platforms that are being immensely, through like somebody like Shadae, who has built her own platform on Instagram, TikTok as well. With us having the ability to build our own platforms, do those like large corporations even matter as much as they used to anymore? Because we can just build ourselves up and then celebrate each other to the point that, we know what's up. And are we even looking to these large companies to tell us how we look anymore? Anybody?
That was good. You hit it on the head.
I mean, y'all can do. I don't know if I disagree. I guess y'all agree. But yeah, like I just feel like it's changing. Like the article we had kind of read up for this was like written in 2016. What I think is the whole uprise was kind of taking off. But like at this point, I think there's still people who want to still talk about, white beauty standards and stuff. But at this point, all I mostly see is just kind of like an oversaturated market of like Black this, Black that, like Black beauty, Black love, Black couples, Black babies, just in my face constantly, to the point that we, basically memeified it. And I don't know. So I guess the question you try to say is like still working within the industry. Like, are you still being told like not to wear your afros in a lot of situations in these like type of LA scenes, or are they actually lightening up your skin in these photo shoots and stuff and post production?
No. They never try to lighten my skin, and they never told me not to wear the afro. Like if anything, they're like, yes, bring it with you. We want to see that on you. So those are two aspects where I've never had any issues with. It's been like some other things. Yeah, let me just say that.
Now, you mentioned earlier about Black skin being fetishized. How do you see? This is the whole. Me and Will talk about this all the time. That whole dichotomy you face as a Black person in America, where it's like, was that racist? Do they actually love me? Do they fetishize me, or do they actually care about me? How do you kind of decipher when you get into situations like, do they just want me because they just need that token Black model? Should I even care? If I do this, am I selling out? Like, do you battle with that? And how do you kind of come to terms with it?
I definitely do think about stuff like that a lot. Before, when I was booking my own stuff, I could kind of like feel things out. And being here in South Carolina, for the most part, I always knew like who's gonna be there, and I knew that everybody looked like me. Okay, when I went to LA, like I said, that shoot was a production. That was my first production, and like I said, it was only 2 other models there that looked like me, and it was like about 8 of us, like overall. So there was nothing I could do because I didn't book it except for just be kind, do my job, and stay professional. But I was thinking like, like I wonder why. But no one said anything, about like, oh, you're so chocolate. It was just like, you're beautiful. We're happy to have you. And, you know, that was good. That made me feel good. Like I was wanted there because of my beauty and my talent and not just because I was a token and I was dark skinned. But I did realize I was the darkest one there, but they didn't say it. So I was like, okay, I'm fine with that.
As long as they don't say the word chocolate or call you, what do they call like brown skin, like caramelly and stuff like that. As long as they don't, it's usually straight. You want to hit the next thing? Well, the next.
No, you got it. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
I was going to speak on like, what do y'all think about in terms of the media's portrayal of, you know, models or black people in mostly white, predominantly white productions. What do y'all think about how whenever a black person is featured, their kind of proximity to whiteness and whatever they're featured in? Like, I've been struggling with, like, I'm all for interracial love, like, you know, it's cool. But like I've been struggling with the fact that it seems like 99% of the time when I watch a movie or a TV show that's predominantly white, if it features like a lead black character, they like have to be like in a relationship with a white person, like, or they have to be best friends with a bunch of white people. Or we just watched Tenet. We just watched Tenet. Me and Will just watched Tenet, which stars a black dude, but like he's the only black dude. Like, do y'all see something going on with that? Like, one of my favorite shows, High Maintenance on HBO. It's an amazing show. Shout out to Star for putting me on. But like, it's a predominantly white show, but like they feature all types of diverse couples, queer couples, you know, poly couples, all these people. But there's no like black couple. There's always a black person with a white person. I'm like, what's going on, man? It's something. It's just weird, man. I don't know if I'm tripping or what.
I feel like you overdoing it with the Tenet friendship and the.
Why am I overdoing it, Will?
But overall, in other shows and other media, I can see your point. I think a lot of it has to do with just checking boxes. Seeing as how we are a minority, it's like, okay, well, this minority might not really be down for this show, so let's go ahead and put this black dude, let's go ahead and make him gay too.
That's what I was about to say. I ain't want to turn full hotel. I'm not hotel.
No, let's just go ahead and make him gay. Let's go ahead and give this sister. Let's go ahead and let's make her lesbian. You know what I mean? Let's go ahead and put her in a relationship with a Spanish dude. Let's go ahead and knock out all these little check boxes.
Like, kill two birds with one stone real quick.
Yeah.
I don't know, Shada, do you see that what we talking about, or are we tripping?
Yes, definitely.
It's just that's this programming to hit the boxes. Like, yeah, man, like it's like you have to have an acceptable black person. Like, if y'all are fans of the podcast, y'all know me and Will are the only two black dudes that love the show called Easy that sadly got canceled a while back. But it's an amazing show. But what I love about Easy, even though it was predominantly white, well, you remember that one episode they just had this hood ass black dude, and it wasn't like,
I think it was just niggering out there. He was just nigging out there.
turned full strong thermist just now. It wasn't like a racist stereotype, but he was just like a real black dude who was just from the hood. It was just like out here, like shit like that. I thought was dope, but for the most part, like the U show with that creepy ass Joe dude, like all of the old girl's friends, her black friends were like I said, the gay black dude and the super light skinned homegirl that was. And then the black chick that he met was like, she was brown or whatever, but like she was like super aggressive, and like he didn't even want to be with her like that. It's just strange, man. I don't know if you should expect any more from these people.
But just like you always say, Mike, like until we have like this overwhelming amount of black media, like we're gonna get boxed in like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just, unfortunately, it's something we're gonna have to deal with for right now until we create more platforms and more entertainment for ourselves. But
yeah, I feel like we should even keep fighting that, or we should just like, all right, just let them do what they do. Let's just do our own thing. Like, I
think right now you got to let them do what they do. I mean, we need to create our own thing, but it's like at the same time, like, okay, well, let's feature these people in some kind of way. Unfortunately, you know, because the opportunities, you know, on our side, where if it's full black, it's just not there right now. I should have said a better way than full black, but you know, it's just not there right now.
Oh goodness.
Bro, you ain't. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna read all the comments. I'm gonna stay away from comments. But I just want to acknowledge what people are talking. People are gonna light up the comments. We're gonna come back to the comments, y'all, because Will don't care about y'all like I care about y'all.
I do care about y'all.
No, you don't. So I guess what we're gonna kind of end this section on was actually Shadae, another black woman that may be in the comments. Like, does the media's white male gaze continue to have damaging effects on women of color, or do you even see that as an issue, that big of an issue, to where it's actually hindering your career at this point?
Wait, what?
Do you see like the whole white male gaze thing? Do you actually? I mean, we talked about the ways that it has affected you before, but as of right now, do you feel like the white male gaze still has damaging effects on how you view yourself as well as your career as of right now, or are you just like good?
I think that it's an on and off thing. Like sometimes I'll be good and other times it's like, So I think one of the biggest parts is like body shapes as far as like black women go, and like men see as acceptable. Now our bodies are the trend, but at one point in time it wasn't. And in the modeling industry, that's still the standard, like the cardboard box girl, and I'm not built like that, so it's like sometimes it does play like, oh my god, it really gets me, because I'm like, well dang, and they'll be like, yeah, I want you to do a bathing suit, and I'm like, what? Like you want me to do this? Like, do you know what I look like? I'm small, but I'm not a white girl small. It's totally different. It's totally different. I'm curvy, so things like that are definitely on my mind all the time because of some of the things that I've been told, like, oh, if you lose 5 pounds, then yes, we'll assign you. And I'm like, wait a minute, I weigh 125. Who losing 5 pounds?
What? So is the beauty industry still largely toxic? Because like I said, I felt like it was, since people could build more of their own platforms to feature who they want to feature, I felt like it was getting better, but is it getting more toxic?
I just think that some things are coming to light more than others. Like certain things that weren't an issue, they're going away, but some other things are coming up more, if that makes sense. So it kind of makes it the same.
Do you ever
care to elaborate, or that's something you don't want to really elaborate on? I mean, it's okay if you don't. It seems like you're, we'll go ahead and dead that.
Okay.
That's good. Like I guess I'm mainly concerned about the well-being of women, and especially black women. Like I just don't like there to be any type of, gatekeeping where that's actually detrimental to black women's psyche. And it always seems like kind of what you were alluding to, like when we become accepting of something, then we kind of make that the new standard. So we start to gatekeep the other parts, and it's kind of just like an ongoing thing. Like I just wonder if we can ever get to a place where, when it comes to large public consumption, can we ever get to a fully healthy place where we're not telling women that they have to, I don't think everything's for everybody, but at the same time, we're not telling women like yourself that you got to lose more weight to do something, or that, of course, fat shaming is a huge thing. Like, will we ever just get to a healthy place where a lot more people get accepted in this industry?
Honestly, I don't know how people are going to feel like this, but I feel like someone made this point and they said that it's always going to be feudal under capitalism. And I agree, because the goal is money. So, oh.
Speak on it. Go ahead.
Dang. You got to learn to work in the system, baby.
You don't know this, but we've been having this whole socialism, capitalism thing for the last months and some change. I'm building a revolution underground.
Okay.
I wrote and directed Judas and the Black Messiah coming to theater.
No, you, no, you did not. You would, Judas. That's what you were.
I would. Like, I go back and forth, man. Like, it's like you said, like when it comes to capitalism, it's a lot of. I wonder if there's a lot of things that's inherently toxic with it that more socialist structures could kind of assist with. But of course, the first thing people say is like socialism never worked, and I was like, well, capitalism ain't work right away either. So anyway, we're not gonna get that whole thing.
Exactly.
It's working for some.
Huh?
It's working for some.
No, I'm saying when capitalism was first, like when it was first a thing, nothing, no system has ever just become a thing. Just not these people. Well, we appreciate you, Shadae, for all your input and everything.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
You want to shout out all your Instagrams and stuff like that?
Yes.
Ciao. All right. Follow me on Instagram at Shadae Not a Dude. That is SHADAENOTADU. And that's my Twitter as well. Oh, not my Twitter, my TikTok, sorry.
No Twitter?
Yes.
No, don't follow me on Twitter.
Okay.
Don't follow me on Twitter.
Well, thank you again, man.
Don't follow me on Twitter.
Really appreciate it.
Yes,
You're welcome.
In modeling. Hope you reach your dreams in this capitalistic society.
I don't gotta step on. All right. I said I hope I don't gotta step on nobody.
Right?
No, I don't think you're gonna have to. I think you are already talented enough and good spirited enough that where you're gonna do well without making no enemies. Anybody gonna come back 10 years later and be like, Shadae stabbed me in the back at Black Models America Agency or something like that. I don't think that's gonna happen to you. But thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your just awesomeness in general. Like I said, I hope we get the shows back popping. I hope I'll see you at the shows again. But
Yes.
yeah, man, we'll definitely post this. We'll let you know when we post this and everything. And that'll be that.
Okay. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much. Take care.
So right now we're about to dive into America's greatest new TV show, Lovecraft Country. And we are going to be joined by our dope producer, Thad Jones. As soon as he unmutes and shows video.
What's happening?
Oh, God. Dodge one of the monsters from there.
Nigga.
Look, hey, he was so happy to be on the video. He didn't even clean up the background or nothing. He ain't
do nothing.
I don't care. I don't care nothing about what my background look like. I stopped caring a long time. I got 3 kids, so I've been stopped caring. Hold on. Let me. There we go. Let me do like.
Oh God! Brand himself and everything.
Don't you hate that? I can't stand it.
Yeah, switch that back.
Look, there's nothing worse than a Zoom meeting with somebody with the over the top like moving background, and then their face is cut off half the time.
Nah, that's why we going with the cluttered background. That's what we
the cluttered working man's desk.
That's it. I'm always working. That's what
that's definitely true. Yeah, shout out to Thad, man.
So
appreciate it, man.
Lovecraft Country debuted, what was it, 3 weeks ago? Three Sundays ago.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What was it? It's produced by J.J. Abrams,
Jordan
Peele, Misha Green,
and other white people.
Misha Green developed
Misha
it.
Green is not white.
No, she's not. She's not white.
I know it's got something to do with white people, especially the way Mike talking about the show.
The author of the book is white. I just want to make that abundantly clear.
It's true.
So how are y'all enjoying the show so far?
Well, Mike and I are polar opposites in that. I'm thoroughly enjoying the show, and apparently Mike thinks it's trash. So I believe I do believe those were the words you used, trash.
No, I just said it to piss you off. I didn't know.
Mike basically believes it's low hanging fruit. The writing is just low hanging
fruit. Low hanging,
just too
low hanging string fruit is what it is.
Okay, I don't think so. I think we've got for the first time in a long time, we've got a story centered around Black characters in their lives, which is.
You just had that with Watchmen.
No, technically you didn't. We
I don't
can.
know.
We definitely did.
Watchmen was pretty black.
A Watchmen had some black elements.
No,
No,
Watchmen
Watchmen
was
was
black.
centered on a black character.
Nah, yeah, it was centered on a black character, but you have to look at the other influences to her life.
Well, it's still about Watchmen, yeah, but like it was centered around Regina King.
She was misled by a white man, by a white sheriff, white racist sheriff. It don't get no blacker than that.
Exactly. Go ahead,
don't get no blacker than being misled by the white sheriff.
Exactly, like they do. Go ahead and share your general thoughts, Will, so I can tear both of y'all apart. I'm just playing.
No, man, I like it so far. Besides episode 2, whoa, what the fuck they were doing?
Wow.
Episode 2 was over the top. I feel like I'm getting this vibe so far from the show. White people are evil. They manipulate us in any kind of way they can.
Exactly.
I guess like I was confused at what I thought this story was going to be from the jump. I thought it was going to be like a long running, just movie kind of thing.
But it was in Lovecraft Country for one day.
It's a collection of horror stories instead.
So that means you don't have a frame of reference, because if you know that what H.P. Lovecraft, which is where they got the title from, he wrote collections of short stories. And they all kind of intertwined.
I'm watching the show. Okay? I don't know nothing about the book. Okay? I don't read.
Hey.
No, I didn't know that about it at all. Honestly.
He's also a notorious racist. So there's that as well.
The author of the book?
H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft, who a lot of the monsters and things are based on, a lot of his work. He was a notorious racist. But he was also up until recently, he was like the standard for sci-fi and horror. Like there's an award that was named after him for sci-fi and horror writers. And I think that has been changed now. I think they actually changed it to, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say it's Octavia Butler now. But so to your point of it being a ton of different kind of vignettes, they're all strung together with this wraparound story that is set in Jim Crow America. I think that is a perfect segue to monsters, and I mean, all of us have the privilege of not having lived through that time, but we're living with the repercussions of it right now. And just to see how that is put together is a beautiful thing. So low-hanging fruit, I don't know. I think it's
Mike. Don't blame me.
This man keep putting words in my mouth. I ain't saying nothing about no low-hanging fruit. This is my thing.
You said the writing was for simps.
Is that what I said? What I said was, I feel like the show has me questioning if we need another show about how bad racism is, how hard it is to live in America, without adding really any new ideas or solutions to that conversation.
Well, I think if you take it at face value, you're looking at, how hard it is and how this and that. But what you're missing is the horror element and the representation, that we aren't represented in those spaces, rarely ever in that space.
And let me finish my sentence. I'm not missing that.
Okay.
I'm taking into account how unique the horror stuff is. I love seeing black horror again. Shout out Jordan Peele, who's literally, in terms of modern terms anyway, is leading the charge on that. I feel like, I think that maybe the horror elements aren't really doing it for me. In terms of I don't think it's supposed to be scary, but it's not particularly creepy to me. It's not particularly all that mind blowing. I will say, and this can be slightly spoilerish, y'all. I'm sorry. Slightly spoilers, but I think everybody in the campus has watched the show. But the giant man baby was freaky as fuck. I will say that. But the LeBron baby, yeah, that shit was creepy. But the monsters in the woods were just they're mostly gross than anything. Like the sheriff turning into a monster was more so gross than anything. Which I like gross shit. Don't get me wrong, but I think the horror stuff isn't really doing this for me. And the wokeness in me is like feeling like because it doesn't really add anything new to the whole racism bad conversation. It's like, is this another exploitation of black pain through a popular TV series? And I'm not trying to be like a Debbie Downer or nothing like that, but like we in a lot of ways as consumers have really memeified like black trauma. The reason why we share these videos over and over again, the reason why people would just go and find some like racist history excerpt from the past and in 1960 something, black people were stoned for da 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 da. We'll just share that and just be like, here's your today in black trauma. Like
Mike, I gotta stop you right there. I'm sorry. I know it's your show. I'm gonna take over. But
like I said, I was going to.
But here's the key, man. Nobody says that about the Holocaust. Not one person says, "Oh, don't share." They say we share so you never forget. We share so that we never repeat this. And I'm not saying that we need to bathe in this negative vibe, but I do think that there are people out there that have no clue as to what our ancestors went through. Up until recently, some folks didn't know about sundown counties. Up until this episode, didn't know about sundown counties. Like, and the fact that information has to come out to people through a fictional show focused on horror is ridiculous to me. As a scholar, I'm like, okay, I knew about this information. Why don't other people know about it? Because other people like Will don't read. No. No, but it's
and you on his side, Will. He still took a shot at you.
I take shots at everybody. But it's this is how we disseminate information to each other. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on where you stand, this is how we need to get that information out. So I'm not saying that we need another slavery anthology, but what I am saying is that if we can find a way to incorporate information into an entertaining portion of a program that gives people the opportunity to be like, damn, is that real? That doesn't really exist? Oh shit. Now we're starting a dialogue and creating a conversation. And I think that's what Lovecraft Country does very well. It's in your face and makes you ask those questions.
All right, 2 quick points. I'm gonna let Will talk. It's been a minute since he talked. So number one, with the whole Holocaust thing, we don't have to. Well, first of all, that's not our community, so it's not really prominent for that conversation to be in our community. But Jewish people don't really have to complain about that because Germany is actually ashamed of the Holocaust. Like Germany does not celebrate Nazis on any level whatsoever. They don't have like Nazi parades. They don't have like Nazi rallies like we do here with Confederate rallies or KKK rallies and like that. Like Germany is actually very ashamed of that history, so they don't have to complain about that. America is just now becoming ashamed of racism, so that's that for that. With the whole learning thing, right? I was saying to the show's point, I think a lot of people are learning about a lot of things that they didn't know before through the show. I actually made like a small list. Shout out to Vic, my homegirl Vic, and my homeboy Brandon for bringing this up because Lovecraft has some real stuff in it. There was a scene where they were talking at the new house about Martin Luther King's whole thing with the white woman. That was a real thing. The ghost that was in a basement. Those are real people that were actually experimented on by Dr. Sims. I don't know if y'all familiar with Dr. Sims. Did these horrible, horrific experimentations on black slaves in the name of science or whatever like that. The reference to the Trumbull Park homes, that was a real thing. And I don't know if y'all caught this. This blew my mind. The whole Ouija board scene with the kids in the basement or whatever, or in the room playing the Ouija board. Y'all remember what I'm talking about? Yeah. My homeboy brought that up. I was like, okay, all right.
Hold on, what happened? I remember the Ouija board scene, but what?
Do you remember that there was a kid that he did the thing like, well, I have fun on my trip down south. Do you remember that part? He actually
that was Emmett Till?
It was because he had the tie and the shirt from the picture he took. I think it was the last picture of him alive.
Last picture he ever took alive, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. But like in that sense, yeah, people are learning about history that they might never heard about before. But it's more like here's the history of how horrible America has been to Black people. But like I said, I don't really think it's adding anything new to that conversation. Like at this point, I feel like we know America's been trash. So is there really that many people who still don't know this history that we keep needing these shows to keep teaching those people? Or can we move to
I think yes.
Yes, because your generation, no offense, is that generation that's going, oh, that's a thing? That's a real thing? Yes, that's a real thing. It really happened. And I think that the more we lose that we're losing older folks that would pass on that information. Like I don't have any grandparents, right, that we live with that would tell us about, hey, don't go over this, but this place has got a bad, whatever. Don't be over there this time of night. All of these different things, these oral traditions, like Jonesy Stark is saying, that we are losing. How do we carry that on? How do we disseminate that to the masses of our people that are otherwise not going to get it, that are going to be raised and think that, oh, well, I don't know why you talking. Why do you distrust this white person? They didn't do it. Their people never did anything to you. That's where we're headed if we don't let this information be known and talk about this information. I just feel that we are doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past if we don't talk about it. Now that doesn't necessarily mean we want to see another slave movie, but definitely want to see. I want to see Black characters in period pieces that are reflective of the actual history. And I didn't hear anybody talking about that when they saw Gladiator. They didn't want to see another period piece movie. White people put out period piece movies all the time that is true to their history. So why should it be any different for African Americans? That's a part of our history. So it does not have to be the focus of it. We have to communicate the history, and it has to be entertaining.
Go ahead, Will. I got rebuttal for that, but I'm gonna say that.
No, I'm good. I'm just listening, baby. I'm taking the show for what it is, man. I'm not reading too far into it, but obviously I need to more because I probably have a even more appreciation of it than I do. It's just entertaining to me right now, honestly. I haven't.
Which I think
it is very.
That's my main thing.
Like besides episode 2, I'm with it, but
so we can talk about episode 2 because that is a diehard with this episode 2.
Episode 2 was too much. It was just too much. It had 3 different.
It was a season finale.
White people.
Okay.
So tell me about this. So you say it's too much. Tell me what part of it was too much for you?
The whole fucking thing.
Okay. It was just like, okay, we talked about like the sexual subject matter, my issue with that, right? But me and Will can agree on this. It felt like in that show, and then that episode, and we're gonna see what's going on going forward, but particularly episode 2, it felt like somebody had so many ideas and was making a giant pot of gumbo. And it was like, I got family coming over. They got impressed with this gumbo. So I gotta throw everything in the cabinet in this thing. I gotta make the episode end 3-4 times. I gotta fake kill off characters just for a little. It's just
I think
a lot going
episode
on.
2 introduces you to the world, and the old world and the new world are colliding in episode 2. You thought the world was one way, and by the end of episode 2, it is not the way you thought it was. And the only way to bring those two things together is to have them collide. And so in episode 2, you're seeing the old world of, tell me again about the scene that I love is where they're in the diner and old buddy is like, they just sat down. Like, what was I supposed to do?
That's episode 1. That's episode 1, right?
No, that's episode 2, isn't it?
Oh no! When they go to the room of whites, I don't know what it's called.
Episode isn't episode 2 where they are chased out.
That was episode 1.
So you're saying episode 1?
Oh yeah, that was episode 1. Yeah.
Okay, so episode 2 is where they're in the woods.
Nope.
No, episode 2 is when they find the house.
2 is where they got to the house.
Yeah.
And everybody has forgotten.
2 people.
Well, everybody but Tech.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So everybody but him has forgotten. I remember now, and we were talking about. I remember my wife and I were talking about. Well, maybe it's because of the blood, right? Maybe because he's related.
I think so. Yeah, they didn't want to like disrespect him in some kind of way or whatever.
Okay, so and then they go. I just that episode. It doesn't bother me at all. It actually leads us forward into what the new world is going to be.
So my main issue with the episode.
Tell me what your issue.
There was way too much going on. I felt like it was 4 or 5 cliffhangers in the episode that they got to 3 minutes later.
What 4 or 5 cliffhangers? Like, you say this, but I need you to reference.
I'm about to communicate it, baby. Just chill out. All right, so
you get hot over here.
No. This is just how I communicate, man. Let's go.
All right, so initially, for whatever reason, these 2 niggas don't know nothing. Okay. For whatever reason, they hypnotized, and then at some point along the line, they see, what is it? They see ghosts from their past. Tick penis turned into a dick. This nigga dancing with some old flame. Tick out here stabbing Vietnamese women in the face. They go to the dinner. Oh, forgot. Pops find a secret room. They go to the dinner. They what is it? This nigga act crazy. He said, "Hey, look, white people, I'm in control in this motherfucker." And they just like, okay, we gonna get the fuck out.
Okay, all right. So
and then they find Tick Daddy. They find Tick Daddy.
That's number 1 cliffhanger. That's number 1 ending that could have been.
Cliffhanger.
They find Tick Daddy. I thought the episode should have been over right there. They try to escape the town. Apparently, some Iron Man force field is up there, and they just run into the thing. George gets shot.
That's the second. That's the
Yeah, that's the second joint. And then what happened? Didn't nigga tear the whole house down somehow? And apparently, that whole scene was a lot for me. Because what was it? They doing the spell, and then like the niggas like like Thor, like trying to get all the Odin power. It's just too much, man. It's just too much, and I think that's okay.
Hey, it's okay for you to feel that way. I think it allows for a couple things to happen. Okay. You went again.
You said it was wrapped around his waist. They made it to be a dick. That's what it
did. It was, but there were clues. If you looked at everybody was experiencing their either desires in those rooms, and they were being watched. Right. They're looking to see how they react. Right. To these different. They're being tried. And so again, anybody who's ever been online, who's joined a fraternity, when you're online, you're tried, right? So these are these Antioch kind of tried rooms where they're watching and seeing how people behave. You already know it's a secret society, but when old buddy goes and finds out they're part of a secret society, and Tick is blood related. So everything that you're talking about is fully explained as to why it went down, but you're feeling like it's too much for one episode. And I feel like if you want it to drag out, I'd rather have all of that stuff there and move on. Well, what are you saying then? Because it's confusing to me. I'm just saying.
I am the last person in the world that likes something to drag out. Like, I stopped watching The Walking Dead way back when that shit just fell completely off the bus, because that's exactly what was happening. What we're saying is, like, editing wise, and it just seems like oversaturated with ideas. I think that they could have ended the episode, and that's, of course it's easy to backseat quarterback and be like, well, you should have did this. I understand how that goes, but we're just saying, like, for our taste, and I feel like I've seen a lot of conversations similar things. Editing wise, it was just too many ideas into one episode. When you do have more episodes, like, you're only on episode 2, like, you can pace yourself, because one thing about a lot of these shows, True Detective is very guilty of this, and that's one of my favorite shows.
It's one of my favorites, but it's a slow, drawn out show.
Oh, it's so slow.
It's slow.
It's slow, but like that's the exact opposite, right? It's super slow and drawn out in the beginning until they get to the last episode, and then they try to oversaturate the last episode with a bunch of exposition.
They don't even oversaturate that. I'm sorry, they don't even oversaturate. It's just slow, and by the time you get to the end, I'm like, who the fuck cares? I don't care anymore.
Oh, y'all tripping. Mahershala Ali killed that last season. I ain't gonna disrespect my man like that, but Like that's the opposite problem. So this show did the exact opposite. It seems so front heavy. It's like when you overload that episode 2, like you almost kind of build your audience up for disappointment. Like
not
you can pay
not if you're paying off, not if it pays. So as
if
a
it pays
writer,
off, we're gonna be wrong. Then we gonna see it.
I gotta say it paid off in the episode. Every buildup that you got there was for a purpose, to move the story forward. And this is what I teach my students. If it's not moving the story forward, then you got to kill it. The reason why the father is found and brought back is because there's conflict between him and his brother. And you need that to resolve that, to add to the next thing. Like, is that Tick Daddy? Like, so all of the seeing of the ancestor running out. Well, that's how she escaped. That's what really happened to the place the first time it went down. So you're seeing that he's falling in the same footsteps. All those payoffs were needed to get ready to go on this next part of the journey. And I think that if it wasn't for that, we'd have so many more questions that we wouldn't accept the fact in the 3rd episode of Christine coming back and seeing that she's really the puppet master behind the scenes. Like we know now that the secret organization is kaput, right? And she's the last living and he's the last living. Like that puts them in a unique place of conflict to take this story to the next level. I'm ready to see what they throw at me now, because we're not moving slow. We're not sitting back and with a whole bunch of exposition. There's the action of our characters actually moving forward through the story that is just allowing us to be transported back to this time and live with these characters in a unique way.
If it pays off that, I will gladly retract all statements and be like, all right, I see what it was doing. But just as of right now, and then still speaking to the whole thing with the ancestors, shout out to Blair. What's up, Blair? Jones, if you want to call him, I'll put the number in the chat, because he about to explode in his comment section over here. So that's my point with the whole thing with the ancestors and stuff like that. Like, that's when it kind of feels like borderline using that racist, trauma from our ancestors and our history as entertainment. And so I'm usually against people who, rebel against that, because I'm like, they're just trying to tell a story. But that's when they get to that thin line. That's why I keep saying that the dichotomy in the black mind, like, are they actually trying to teach us, or are they just using black pain to get ratings? Like, it's so hard to tell sometimes. And I kind of lean to the right side when I don't really feel like the show is really hitting like that. So
I think that the fact that there has been that these group of characters have not relied on a white savior to get them out of any trouble. That in the episodes thus far, we saw black men organized to protect a black woman going out to knock these bricks off this car when she, you know what I mean? Everybody, I think that what we're seeing is not a attempt at using black pain to further ratings. I think what we are seeing is an attempt at realistic depiction of what we've gone through collectively as a culture in this country, mixed with the elements of horror, and blending those two makes us ask the question, which is more horrible? The racism that was endured and continues to be endured by Black Americans, or these fictitious monsters that keep popping up in this show? I think that the juxtaposition between the two allows us to really have a conversation about, like you said, Black pain, but also about our place now, currently, because a lot of things ain't changed.
I can appreciate that. Everything you just said, I can appreciate that. I just need that discussion on the racism thing to go to the next level of, are we going to discuss like abolition? Are we going to discuss actually like, defunding the police? Are we going to actually discuss,
how do you discuss that
have been
how do you discuss that in Jim Crow? Those ideas aren't even
it might not have to be in that's
place.
That's what I'm saying about that. It doesn't have to be in Jim Crow. However way you decide to tackle the issue, are we going to do it in a way that can discuss those things as well? Because like I said, for me personally, it just feels like we've been talking about racism is popping right now. Like we know America is racist, like, but what are we doing to push that discussion forward? And particularly,
I think you want this show to do too much. That's what I'm
saying. That's what I'm saying.
Do that.
No, I don't think it's impossible to do it. What I'm saying is, do we need shows who can't do that anymore? Like, do we need shows to just talk about racism? Somebody's in the somebody just called in. Hello, who's this? Who is this? I think it's a delay first.
He's connecting audio now.
Oh, it's Jones. What's up, man? You got 5 minutes, and then we're gonna kick you out the damn chat. look at this nigga face is ready to.
This is audio is still connected. Why is this nigga just staring? I'm so intimidated right now.
His audio is still connected. Well, that's my thing with that. Like I said, it might not mean something that shows need to do, but like,
I think that again, there comes a place where we have to accept things for what they are, as far as with our entertainment. And there's only so much that we can do, especially within this particular construct. We've already set the rules, we've set the setting, and unless we start to go into the future, which could be a possibility with this show, the way it is, there's no way for you to address any of those things. What you want is heavy lifting on, and again, I don't see that same argument with any other period show, with any other culture. And so I just think that that's an unrealistic expectation, especially for a period piece show. Hold on, he's trying to say something.
Can you hear us, Jones? Jones.
Believe me, we know if his audio was working.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh, there it goes.
Okay. All right, I can hear y'all now, man. My bad.
Okay, we hear
you. Got like 3 minutes.
Yeah, 3 minutes. All right, man. Man, all I got is 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's all you got, nigga.
All right, man. Fuck Mikey, whoever that love him. His head his ass, so I got to headbutt him. Props to the GOAT, Lil Wayne. But nah, for real. I hear where you coming from, Mike, and okay, I know racism is bad. Why don't they know racism is bad? Well, like you said, the Germans had sense enough to be ashamed. They had sense enough to not have Nazi monuments. America don't work that way, cuz. It don't. Yeah. And I get what you're saying. Let's have these further conversations. Let's talk about abolitions, reparations. Let's talk about tearing down this white supremacist infrastructure that was based in and continues to self-perpetuate that system. I feel you. My thing is, one, who are we going to have those conversations with? Who are we putting to be the person to meet on the other side of the aisle to lead those conversations? And when it comes to like Thaddeus said, in this period piece, I get putting those ideas out. This is going to be a popular show, and yeah, you want to have those ideas being seated in the show, but can they be seated naturalistically? Like you said, don't just do woke shit because it's trendy to throw it in there when it don't fit.
Exactly.
I think they're doing a good job addressing why this stuff, like these things happen. Like, bruh, like I don't know about your timeline, but mine, not just black, not just white people or other people of color, but even black people. Wait, this really stuff like this could really happen? Like, do you like for me or you? We might know about the Red Summer. We might know about the Tulsa race massacres. We might know about all this other kind of stuff, the Boston race riots and all of that from the Civil War era. We know these things because we've taken the time to educate ourselves and we're passionate about understanding certain things. The majority of people, if it wasn't in that damn high school history book that they didn't even read then, it didn't happen.
Thanks.
I get it. I feel you. I feel you, man. I feel what y'all are saying. Maybe I'm like, and I try not to do that whole thing of like, everybody should think the way I think. I'm not trying to do that by any means. But like, it just seems like, because literally everybody is talking about race at this point. Everybody. Nigga, when we get on Call of Duty and the screen is black because they're trying to acknowledge Black Lives Matter, like, I'm like, okay, everybody's talking about racism now. So it's like, it just seems like there's an overabundance of that conversation going on already. I don't really know if I need more of that in an entertainment show that's obviously using that as a plot device in their show without pushing that conversation forward. So I
get
feel
it.
what y'all saying. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I'm just like I said, I just question if any more of that needs to be put out here at this point.
So
And is it
for you,
actually
it's
detrimental?
sorry.
Oh, you good,
So
man?
for you, it's a issue of pure intention behind it and taking things
Right.
to the next level. So what does that next level look like for you? Like my thing is, if you're gonna criticize something or see an issue with something, especially with art or art used for a political purpose, if you don't got your
Right.
blueprint lined out for the corrections and what you want to see, then it's just complaining. Like,
Well, see, and I would say, although my solution is, like I said, pushing the conversation to that next level of discussion, like things like abolition, which I don't think are popular, things like defunding the police, which aren't popular. These are things that people still don't understand, and we still haven't fully figured out. But that conversation needs to be pushed further. But that's my personal solution. But at the same time, like I think you can know something is wrong without necessarily having a solution in mind at the time. Like
well, I agree.
you may not know, you know what I'm saying? We know that mass incarceration is a
I
big
agree.
problem for black people, but we don't know the solution to a new policing system or a new prison system that, for those people who won't be rehabilitated, for those people that restorative justice will not work on, what do we do with those people? We ain't got answers to that. You know what I'm saying? But that's still a complaint that we can make. Like private prisons are still
I
a
get
huge
that.
problem.
I just
You know
think
what
that
I'm
when
saying?
you have those complaints, you get a lot more, you accomplish more and you get a lot more headway by actually having solutions ready. So,
Yeah.
like you said, man, mass incarceration is a plague upon our nation. This is unfair. It's racially biased. It's this, that, and the third. Like you said, I'm talking to a politician. They might even agree with me, like, okay, cool, Jonesy. I agree with you. That it is messed up. So what do we do about it? If my next thing after that sentence is, well, don't. You walking off like, all
Well, I
right,
don't think
good
I
talk,
don't think somebody
citizen.
no, I don't think somebody who's raising that question is going to be at a complete loss. Like I said, they might not have all the answers ready, but I think people who, like I said, everybody's not meant to be in that fight, but those who do take it on do
Agree.
have like somewhat of a game plan at least.
We would hope, because a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that's not popular in the mass consciousness, Mike, is very popular in certain woke circles because they're
Right.
talking points that are the right side of history, and that's where I have an issue with just a lot of stuff in general. Me and you have private conversations about a lot of stuff where it's like you banging this drum, but you don't even really know how. Like nigga, you playing a triangle in an orchestra. You don't really know the notes. So you got a lot of loud triangle players out here running around, ringing off. But that's a whole nother podcast, man. But like just with Lovecraft Country. Go ahead. Sorry, man.
I'm sorry, but I think within the construct of what Lovecraft Country can do, and I guess that's the point. We are addressing a predominantly majority Black cast show, representation, right? That's important, with stories about them and their lives, not centered around some white savior of, like you were talking about earlier, the white best friend. So I think we're checking those boxes that you were talking about. And then to pour onto that, you're like, I want to change the conversation to this, that, and the third. It's like, damn, man.
Change the conversation.
Well, you want to add to you.
I want to push the conversation.
You want to add extra to the wagon.
I think that's a good point.
Damn, can we push that up the hill first?
Does Black art? Why of all the communities does our art have to cover all the fucking bases? It can't be what it is. It can't be. I mean, I'm like that bothers me because for real, bro, there were as much as people went up for Black Panther when it came out, there was still those motherfucking think pieces about, well, Black Panther just did it lacked the it didn't represent these tribes from Africa in this tradition. And I felt that any Wakanda that represents liberation for Black people needs to have a larger queer presence. I didn't feel any queerness in the movie. And I felt like this was not here and that was not there. Therefore, it is trash and part of the patriarchy and part of white supremacy and yada, 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 yada. Whatever. And it's like, yo, word, like, I didn't see white people like Dawson's Creek does not address the issues that I feel as a young white man.
Oh, listen, okay.
I did want to throw one thing out here real quick, especially with what our episode was talking about, the white male gaze. Do y'all feel any kind of way about the Journey Smollett casting? Like, did they had that feature a light-skinned?
I think
that's intentional.
It's intentional to talk about colorism.
Mm-hmm.
Because her sister is dark skinned, and
I saw that immediately.
Animosity immediately, just from the stare that she gave her. Like, this bitch gonna think she gonna come up here and sing. I'm in here entertaining the folks, and you think you gonna come up here and take my space?
Yeah, bro. Thank you. That's where I was going. The moment she hit that stage, you notice how every male in the audience energy was different. The sister was up, they singing her ass off, playing instruments and all. Journey walks up, here's a couple of little nice notes, and they, yeah, woo, that's right, girl. Yeah. Giggity.
And I think that is that's intentional and very structure of the various structure of our culture is how we are pitted against each other. We don't even realize how ingrained that is. Even as Black men, you could see it in that day and time. Lighter is better. Like they respected Journey's character, and I wouldn't say respected. They lusted for her in a sense of she's an object of desire because she's lighter, right? But when it came down to them making their way through town and things, did you notice how the white women looked at her as well when she came into town? Like that is I think that's very intentional. I think it's a very smart choice because we could not have that conversation if there wasn't representation, and there's representation of all the hues in this show.
For sure. I don't disagree with y'all saying. I do want to make it clear that I'm not trying to be like, because I remember the Black Panther conversations of like,
bro,
you didn't come.
I remember those, Nick. Bro.
Is Wakanda erasing everybody? Like, I'm definitely not trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's just me personally. Like I said, from the circles that I reside in, and I do realize I want to acknowledge that we all reside in different circles, and there are a lot of circles where, I come to and I do mention something like this stuff that's depicted in the show, and people do look at me like, "What? What are you talking about?" Same thing with like when we had the Glamazon Tayomi episode talking about poly lifestyle and stuff like that and love outside of monogamy. A lot of my coworkers watched that and was like, "What the hell were y'all talking about on that show? Like y'all talking about out here cheating?" Like I get it.
I think what you have going on, and I kudos to you, is that we are opening a door of conversation, which doesn't happen for Black communities. Often we think that not we, but our culture says
the collective we, the royal
the collective we says we all got to be this. All Black people think like this, and that's not the case. And the fact that the monolith myth, absolutely. The fact that we can have conversations as 4 Black men from 4 different perspectives, and though we might all fit into the same socio-economic bracket according to them, we all are different frames of thought, and that just shows how diverse our culture and communities are. And the more we can have conversations like this, not just about entertainment, but about politics, about sex, about religion, those are the things that we need to have, because our community has been stifled so long into thinking or portrayed as thinking one way, and we don't see it out in the public. I think we lost our feed for some reason. Hold on one second.
Oh.
At least on Facebook or on my
watch
side.
Party might have stopped.
The watch party might have stopped. Or let me see. Are you still tuned in?
We might have closed the timeline.
Facebook Live is still going.
All right. Yeah. Well, it might just be me. But yeah, sorry.
No, it's all good.
No, you're absolutely right, man. And I do appreciate like y'all supported this podcast so we can do stuff like this. That's what me and Will want to do in the first place, man. I think that's why I'm so adamant about how I feel about the show. Like the last thing I wanted to do with this podcast, and Will too, is just have the same conversation about the same thing that everybody's talking about and run it to the ground and just spin our wheels, you know what I'm saying? And just talk to people who only agree with us. And yeah, man, I appreciate y'all's different opinions, even though y'all wrong as fuck. No, I was playing.
I mean, I respect your right to be vastly incorrect about everything.
Everything, that's right.
About everything.
Keep watching.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep watching. Look, we finish the series. If I'm wrong, bro, y'all be the first ones to hear it. I would love to be wrong.
Like, cuz I feel you about having to keep going back into the thing about if we're gonna address our past as African Americans in this country, it's unavoidable to address the trauma, because that is we have a lot of triumph we can talk about too, but that triumph comes from overcoming the trauma. So like,
my man,
it's kind of like if you had a fucked up childhood and I wrote a story about my childhood, like, man, damn, Jones always talking about his daddy beating the shit out of him. Well, nigga, if that's first 18 years of my life, at age 20, I ain't gonna have so many, I think our community
positive stories.
I think our community overall, when you look at the opportunities we've been afforded to move within some level of freeness in this country since we since the official abolition of slavery or whatever, right? As a community, if we were like to do a parallel of an actual human being, we're still in our adolescence, maybe post-adolescence, as a community of people. Excuse me. So as much as I love Afrofuturism, as much as I want to see more Wakandas and less plantations, as much as I want to see more black, I want to see black people in space. But until I can get to space, I need to unpack what kept me on the ground. I can't fly until I can walk. And I think some of our media is necessary to both. Like I feel you. I want both happening simultaneously. It doesn't have to be one. It doesn't have to be either or for me. I'm not an either or type of person. So like I know you're not either, but I'm just saying, fam. Like just for whoever's listening. Yeah, we need to talk about our past. We need to talk about our present, and we need to look towards our future. But in order to get the opportunity to tell those other stories, the stories that we do have presently have to prove profitable and successful. Going back to the capitalistic system we in, if Black Panther didn't make money, I guarantee you won't go see Lovecraft. You won't go see. No, you won't go see. You won't go see that nigga in Endgame. You won't go see him in Infinity War either.
Nah, yeah, you got a good point with that. And I just want to put a pin on my opinion on this. I agree with everything you're saying, 100%. Like that said earlier, it's all about the intention behind it, man. All about the intention behind it. If the intention's there in the right place, and I'm just not a fan of the show, cool. But if the intention is, let me use Black Pain because it's a hot thing right now. Throw it in my show with the horror shit, and we're gonna get some money. That's what I got a problem with. So, like I said, I don't really have a way of knowing what the creators.
Right. It's hard. It's hard to rate what's exploitative and what's like you said earlier when you talked to Shadae about have you ever felt fetishized on set versus being celebrated? And my thing is, if it ends with a positive yield, sometimes you just got to be like, all right, 100. Like if I'm out here, when I'm looking for grants and stuff, and it's just some rich white person that wants to assuage their guilt over the way they got their ancestral wealth, and we're like, he's dreaded and looks like a threatening Negro man, and I'm gonna fund your thing that's gonna profit generations of Black kids. And I'm like, hey man, I don't like the way you shook my hand. Let me turn down this money on principles. Like, at a certain point, get over yourself. Like, get over yourself, nigga. Like to a certain degree, not you, but like sometimes generally we got to be like, because I roll my eyes sometimes too. Like, we watch sports. Like last night when they mentioned the excuse me, the Tulsa massacre, I was kind of laughing because like I could tell how uncomfortable the white dude who was on commentary sounded, calling it a massacre and saying, white folks showed up and assaulted these good people, these Americans who had every. It was like he was holding his booty hole together to not just
say the wrong thing because they losing their jobs left and right.
Spread that message though. You gonna eat it. I don't give. I had to absorb your culture, your history as the standard my entire life. So even if you don't mean to put that Black thing on your logo, the motherfucker that don't want to acknowledge my conditions or the conditions of my people, they got to see it on your EA channel now. They got to see it on your Givenchy. They got to see it on this, that, and the third. So whether they're just doing it to ride the wave and avoid the backlash, guess what? The message is still going forward.
Right, brother. You're right, Cuzzo. We appreciate you, man.
You just slap the shit out of them when you see them niggas in person, though. You still reserve the right. You still reserve the right to fuck niggas up.
Exactly. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Jones.
Shout out to my cousin Josie, man. We appreciate you.
Man, I love y'all, man. I miss y'all, man.
Miss you too, man. We gotta get the kickback popping again after the whole zombie apocalypse.
I don't want to catch that Resident Evil 7. That's the worst one.
Nah, bro, we ain't trying to get that Code Veronica over here.
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Man. Appreciate you, bro.
I'm gonna kill this tall boy. Holla at
you. All right, man.
That's your blood cousin. That fella cool there. Me and him.
That's the Black cousin.
That's the blood cousin.
Ain't no
blood cousins.
Ain't no blood.
Hey, that fella on point though. I wanted to add one more thing before I get off this thing, or because I know I took over your show, but
with your wrongness.
Well, I'm right most of the time, and this is one of them times. But anyway, I was fortunate enough to actually go to a talk that Misha Green gave, who's the creator of the show. Before, this was about 3 years ago, three or 4 years ago, when she was at ABFF and she was talking about how she got the show funded, and it was kind of hush hush because it wasn't out. They were still in development and still in talks. But one of the key points that she mentioned was that she did not want to do. She did was it Underground?
Yeah, Underground.
Right. And she mentioned that she was tired, and to your point, of doing those kinds of shows, but she wanted to do something that was rooted in some form of reality that talked about Black people's lives and mixed the horror element in. And I think that, that is what she's achieving here with this show. And just to see it come to fruition from her speaking about it, I saw the sizzle for it that she pitched it with, and to see it come to fruition like this, I think it's great representation. It's for someone who, as me, that I work in the industry and seeing this come about. It's definitely not going to solve all our problems and address all our issues, but I think it's a great way for us to start to have these conversations. So kudos.
I feel that, man. And shout out to Black women for out here doing it, because that's what they do. I'm definitely not going to sit here and just like rag on a show. It's created by a Black creative who's been very successful thus far and everything. Definitely want her to keep doing things. Hope she, just continues to push her art further and further. And like I said, man, we're gonna come back. We're gonna have a roundtable at the season finale. I don't know how many episodes this thing is, but at the season finale, man, we're gonna come back.
It's an HBO show with Black people. It's 8 episodes, man.
Right. I'm surprised they ain't 30-minute episodes. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all's thoughts and concerns and general wrongness. But anywho, we're on the end of the show, man. We're gonna go ahead and shout out our Thirst of the Week real quick. This is a good friend of the show, Miss Candace Johnson. She is super insanely dope. She is the founder of But I'm Not a Critic. I think we have, let's see.
Yep, 1 second, I'm pulling it up.
Oh, it's okay. You good? While he does that, yeah, Candace is the founder of But I'm Not a Critic, though, which is a space for healthy, intelligent exchanges about music via blogs, podcasts, articles, and live shows curated by a cultured and nerdy 20-something and her music-loving friends. Candace is all around very, very dope individual. I've known her for a couple years now. She has had a phenomenal show called The Glow Up, which has featured many South Carolina faves, including Pat X, good friend of the show, who's been on the show before, Rayla June, who's insanely dope, and my good friend Milla, who I want to have on the show because she is ridiculously dope. I don't feature this woman in several of my shows. I know it's easy to forget these artists during the pandemic, y'all, but check on your artist friends here in South Carolina. I know all my South Carolina people watching the show. If you're not in South Carolina, reach out to us. I'll put you in the loop, because we got so many dope artists out here who are, kind of struggling, disheartened by everything going on. A lot of them haven't been able to do shows like that. I've been fortunate enough to be able to do a couple shows, but I didn't want to do too much. Because, whole zombie apocalypse and everything. But Candace has definitely been one of the trailblazers as far as putting on South Carolina and particularly Columbia artists out here with her shows, with her blogs, with her music reviews, with her podcasts. She's a dope individual, man. You can check her out on IG at But I'm Not a Critic, though, on Twitter at BINACT1, and her website is butimnotacritic.com. Check her out, man. If you love music as much as I love music, this is the person to get in touch with. She's dope. She's amazing. She's beautiful. And yeah, man. Shout out to Shadae for being our guest today.
Thank you, Shadae. Thank you, Thad.
Thank you, Thad, for your thoughts. Thank you, Jonesy, for coming in. This was a list. I'm so happy Will's back and alive and well. So we'll be back 2 weeks from now for more dopeness. Patreon, yes. Patreon. $5, $15, $25. If you want to get scoring for that event or a business, cut it out, help you with that. Prices are very low, but if you just want to, like I said, $400, you can do that too. Either way, we appreciate y'all for joining us. Love y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Sorry.